Happy Sunday, everybody. It's a chilly but bright and sunny day here. Uh, Rosy cheeks from just getting back in the car from out walking the babies. And I had a thought today that I want to share about. I was thinking about childhood and the way our childhood impacts us positively and negatively. And I started thinking about, this whole concept of our imaginary friend. Now, most people at some point have an imaginary friend, and it's different degrees depending on your life experience. But even in how we play as a child, we actively engage our imagination. And if we're playing with toys, the toys are real. If we're playing a game, the game is real. If we are playing alone, we incorporate our imagination to bring a sense of companionship into our play. And I have a feeling that there's a lot of us who, as adults, still have that imaginary friend, but in a slightly different way. Usually in childhood, our imaginary friend is someone who comforts us, who, like I said, engages with us, who makes us feel we are not alone, who makes us feel safe for some reason. But as an adult, we have this imaginary friend that we carry around in our heads that over the years, instead of becoming a comfort to us, becomes a voice in our minds and in our imagination, because that still comes into play, that is our inner critic. And what was once a comforting companion can become an echo of the voice or the experience or the situation or situations that happen to us in our lives where we are hurt on some level and start to see ourselves in a certain way, or imagine that we have to be a certain way to create safety in our lives. And this voice then, like I said, as we age and as circumstances and life experiences mount up and reinforce the belief system that we've internalized, we get this inner critic that is constantly pointing out our shortcomings to us, or is constantly pointing out limitations, or is constantly pointing out things like, well, who do you think you are to want that, or to deserve that, or to accomplish that? Or who do you think you are to think that you have the right to be your true authentic self in a world that is often telling you, from the stories in your head and from the stories on the news and from the stories from our loved ones and from the stories from our bosses, that we are not all that we should be in any given moment. And sometimes those are legitimate. Sometimes we make mistakes and we need to self-correct. But when we are living with the advice of that little devil that's on our shoulder saying, no, you're not doing it right, or you can't do it right, or you're never going to do it right, or you're not right with who you are authentically, who you are is fundamentally wrong, and you're a failure, and you will just make mistake after mistake after mistake. And we start to listen to that voice. It becomes the pattern that we operate from. And our imaginary friend then is no longer serving us in a way that is to our benefit. And a fun little game that we could play is, what if your imaginary friend was the best part of you, saw only the good in you, saw the love and the possibility and the potential, and start practicing. Even like as a child you created that, as an adult you can create that inner imaginary friend who is your cheerleader, who is your voice sometimes when you feel like you can't do it yourself, who can be the one to speak positively into your head and into your heart and into your physicality, and who recognizes your inherent goodness and your inherent potential, and incorporate that into your daily activities. It's going to take some practice. Like I said, this is a relatively new concept for me as well. And I'd love to do this experiment. Anybody who wants to do this with me, let's try it for a week. Put your hand up in the comments, or give me a thumbs up, or whatever the emojis are in the comments that you'd like to use, about if you're going to join with me in this journey of starting to create an imaginary friend who is on your side, who is not someone who's going to just tell you you're always right, but someone who's going to tell you that you are worthy, that someone who's going to not support your negative or reactive behaviors, but someone who's going to point out your inner potential to succeed, to love yourself, someone who loves you. And I guess that's a really good way to look at it. Someone who loves you isn't going to only ever tell you, oh, you're doing good, or you're right. They're going to lovingly and compassionately act as a guide to being the best that you can be, to living the best life that you can be, to thinking the best of yourself that you can in any situation, and who can support you, and like I said, and be your cheerleader in that regard. And like I said, I'm very excited to look at this this concept and explore it a little bit more and play with it like a game, just like a child. And like we talked about before in other videos, curiosity is a really fantastic path to access your subconscious beliefs. Curiosity and imagination together is a powerful, potent force to help with the reprogramming and to help you consider possibilities and options and ways of being in the world that you currently don't feel are your active experience. And the two together can combined with a personification, if you will, of this imaginary friend, this inner angel, that still small voice in your head that is speaking positive to you and about you. And it'll be interesting to see how different ones of us experience that, and if it is impactful. Just the concept of it and the little bit that I played with it in the last few days has already started to have a positive impact on my relationship to what is going on in my environment and in my head right now. So, like I said, give me a thumbs up, or give me a wave, or put your hand up, or say you're in, or whatever you need to do in the comments. But let's explore this together. I think it's a fascinating concept, and I think it's going to be something that many, many, many of us are going to find useful and beneficial in lots of different areas in our life. So that's it for today. Have a good Sunday, everybody. We'll talk soon. Bye bye.